about something very special happening here for the first time since January 2020. First car on the road. It's another thing for you to think about this year.
You seem excited, yeah?
I'm always excited when Ott Tanak is on form. And is it fair to say you're on form now?
I would say it's a bit too early to be really on top form, but we are definitely going in that direction.
So I should knock my levels of excitement down a level or two?
Personally, I have no expectation. Like I said, I've not driven the car on gravel yet. I've not been competing it. I'm in doing a rally, so it's still something we need to discover this weekend.
So you've tested the car though on gravel?
Yeah, I tested it on gravel, yeah, but I haven't done any rally on gravel.
Obviously, the big thing here is the altitude, the effect of altitude and heat on the hybrid as well. These are things that are difficult to gauge, I guess.
I mean, for the hybrid, obviously, or let's say it's good to have hybrid. It's something that doesn't get affected with the altitude. For the combustion engine, it's challenging, but from the other side, for the hybrid, the temperature and the altitude and the low cooling effect, it will definitely affect. So how we can manage it, we need to find out.
It does mean, doesn't it, that if you have a hybrid problem, it's going to be really punishing here.
So it makes sense not to have a hybrid problem. So.
Does that frustrate you that we're now, 14 months, 15 months into the hybrid generation cars and there are still regular problems with the hybrid unit? Is that a bit of a frustration for a driver?
Yeah, I'm sure it's frustrating for everyone, Yeah, it's things which should get sorted, but I understand it's a bit difficult topic which we should not comment too much. At least we've been asked to, so. Let's see. I mean, it's probably going to be one of the most challenging one for the hybrids. The hybrid doesn't like the temperature, it doesn't like the compressions and the G-forces, which in Mexico you get many, with all the compressions and things. So let's see. It will be a proper challenge for them.
So can you, in any way, have a strategy that minimises the risk to the hybrid unit, or is that just impossible?
We don't know what is going to happen, or how challenging it's going to be for them. So that's why I think we need to do at least a day or a loop to understand where we are. Hopefully it will be no issue, but yeah, I would say it's done everything from our side to minimize all the risks.
Tell me about the stages. We caught up with you earlier on. You said there were quite a lot of repairs out in the stages. They could get messy quickly, but for you first on the roads, maybe not quite so messy, but a lot of time lost.
Yeah, the thing is that some stages are quite twisty and slow, so it's all about the traction, and yeah, physically it's difficult to get traction early on the road. But some stages are a bit faster as well. There it could be a bit more fun. Let's see how it works out. It's for sure the Friday is quite crucial for us, and I've seen before, when you open the road here, you can do a perfect day, but you can still be quite far in the order. So let's see how it works out.
So what is the target for the weekend?
First, the target is to get some cars front of us for Saturday morning, and then from there on we need to try to climb back.
Great stuff. Best of luck, Ott.
Thank you.
Pierre-Louis, Rally Mexico is a fantastic event. It's one that a lot of drivers look forward to. But for you, it's something a little unusual. It's your first time here. There aren't many events that's your first time, but this one is.
Yeah, for sure. This year, a lot of many events, and Mexico will be part of this one. So, yeah, looking forward to do well for sure. First time against this guy who did many times, that will be tricky. But I think with all of the road position and the stuff, maybe that will be possible to have a good pace.
How much homework did you do before the event? Did you watch much in the way of onboards?
I did a lot of video, but how it is, you really feel the rally when you did the recce. So you can do many video you want until you do the recce, you see. So yeah, a lot of video to see how make the pace note, all the things, to learn a bit the stages. But yeah, without pace note, it's not great as usually.
So it's been a busy recce for you. We understand yesterday in particular was a long day, making brand new notes. What did you make of the stages? How did your recce go?
Yeah, it was a very long day yesterday for us. We did all of the pace notes for all of the stages, so quite a lot of work, but yeah, part of the game. And after that, you have a lot of work at the hotel to make the pace note a bit more precise for the first pass. So yeah, a lot of work.
Did anything surprise you out there?
Yeah, many things. I was surprised by the visibility of the stages. I was thinking that will be like Portugal or Sardine, Greece. You have a good visibility, and here you have a lot of very small crests. And yeah, this is the thing that can make you a bit of hesitation on the first pass. So I hope that I will not lose too much time on the first pass to be very sure about what I'm doing. But this is the main thing, I think.
We saw it in Greece last year on the opening day where you found a bit of confidence, you made the most of the road position, you were remarkably quick, you led at the end of day one. I guess that's the opportunity you've got here this week.
Yeah, for sure. But you remember in Greece it was new stage for everybody. So in rally it's a good big point now because everybody knows the stage at perfection. Like when we go to Portugal or Sardinia, everybody know perfectly. But anyway, for sure, like you said, the road position can help a lot. But I will try it anyway to go fast as I can, and why not? But I know that compared to Greece, that will be a bit more difficult for sure.
You know, we've seen you in the past where you've known there's an opportunity for a good result, a good finish, and it's about maybe just throttling back a little bit, thinking a little bit more about the stages. You don't seem to enjoy that. You like to go fast. But again, there's that opportunity here this week with the attrition, with how difficult the stages are, to get a really good result by thinking your way through the stages.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, you need to be clever on this type of rallies. What I said that the performance is really important, but if you take 100% of the risk when you don't know the stage like the other, I don't think that you go to the end. But I will try it anyway to do my best, but to have this margin and to do no mistake, no puncture, because I think that when you see the rally in the past, a lot of things happen every year. So.
No mistakes, no punctures, and you'll be close to a podium. There's no question about that.
Why not? If we can sign this now, I will be very happy.
Well, I'm pretty confident of that because this rally is normally defined by problems with punctures, problems with suspension, and if you can avoid all of those things, it could be a really good weekend.
We will try. Thank you.
You had a look at the opening stage, the Vanuatu Super Special. It's a special Super Special.
That for sure. It's a very impressive one, and I saw a lot of video of this one. The atmosphere looks fantastic. So yeah, it's amazing to be here. Honestly, the Mexican people, you feel that they love the rally. It's a bit like in Portugal or Argentina in the past. It's very impressive how the people love the rally.
Well, it's going to be a fantastic weekend for you. A new experience, Pierre-Louis. Make the most of it and enjoy it.
Thank you.
What do we expect this week?
A drama, I'm sure. First time here for all of us with these cars on these roads. I think it's been a few years since we've been here. You probably forget the conditions and how hard they really are. I think the guys saw that during the recce. So yeah, it will be a bit of a survival of the fittest. I think so. Be a challenge for everybody.
Not to talk, as there always is, about the hybrid unit. The hybrid, for the first time at altitude, could play a massively important part this weekend.
Yeah, I think it could showcase a bit more of a difference between some of the cars, I guess, and any cars that suffer hybrid issues will definitely be at a disadvantage compared to maybe what we see more at sea level. But again, it's going to be part of the whole challenge over the course of the weekend, and we just need to prep our cars best as can, so we give the guys as best as possible for the event.
I was talking a little bit about how this rally in particular with the G-forces, the compressions, could be very difficult on the hybrid. Is there anything that you can do from an engineering point of view, from a strategic point of view, to minimise that additional risk that you've got here?
No, very little, to be honest. Everything's kind of in the place it's designed for, and there's no scope to really modify for that. So, we did some very tough testing on the car when we designed the car on some very rough roads. So we would hope that testing back then is when it's going to come into its benefits now.
And we saw you had a celebrity tester out in the car the other week. What did you make of him? Would you employ him?
It was a bit rough, to be honest, and he tells everybody off for cutting the corners, and he was the one cutting the most. And when I said to him, "You cut every single corner in there," he said, "No, that was the other guy that was driving on the track today as well." It was entertaining to go in with Malcolm. He's still handy enough. So, but the 5 minutes I was in was enough for me.
I can imagine. Yeah, you're a driver. You're not a co-driver, really, are you?
I'm pretty sure he wouldn't get in a car with me driving either. So, the feeling's kind of mutual sometimes.
Rich, obviously a different challenge for the team this weekend. A nice challenge to have. Your driver leads the championship first on the road. Now for M Sport, that'll be the first time in quite some time, I would think. Can't remember when the last time you guys were first.
2018, I'd imagine.
Will probably be 2018, won't it? Again, strategically, how do you prepare for that as a team?
It would have been 2022 if Seb had gone to Sweden, but he didn't.
Yes, it would have been.
Yeah, well, there we go.
Very good.
For the statos out there. No, I think.
Let's put a smile on Luke's face. Anyway.
Yeah. What was the question again, though?
I don't remember, mate. Yeah, any particular strategy? First on the road.
Yeah. No, I think we've got to be sensible. You know, we know it's going to be very difficult here, especially with the roads not being used by Rally 1 cars for a good few years. Okay, there was the rally here last year, but quite a small entry, and you know the roads kind of get back to how they always are after a year. So we know we'll probably be at quite a disadvantage on the first day. But again, you know, tyre wear will probably come into it as well, and maybe we can take a little bit of an advantage there. But the goal here is to come away with some points, you know, and consolidate where we are. And many people have won from first on the road, so it's not impossible. But the goal at the end of the day is to keep the points, to keep us ahead.
Best of luck this week, Rich.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thierry Neuville, obviously the championship, we're only 2 rounds in, but it's already looking quite interesting. Third on the road here, what can you do from third on the road?
It's hard to say now, but we know that against our main competitors, except probably Elfin, which is running just behind, we have a better road position, so we need to benefit from that. After there are some really fast guys coming behind. They should be faster than us on the first day with the amount of cleaning, but I think it can be a challenging first day for them as well, because there are lots of stones in El Chocolate on the road or along the road, which might make it a bit more challenging for the cars behind. So I hope that in the first run we have a bit cleaner stage, less stones, and just fight against the dust. But I don't know. Let's see.
Obviously you will drive your own rally, we know that. But what we saw in Sweden was that your 2 teammates are here to help in terms of your championship quest. They, being fast on the Friday for both Esa-Pekka and Danny, could really help you out if they can put in good performances.
Well, I don't know. It depends always on what position you end up the day or the rally. I think first of all everybody will do his best, and we're going to see. In Sweden there was this opportunity because Craig was just being front and he's not doing the championship. Lappi would have been another story for sure, so early in the championship. But I have to focus on my own race. If I can keep within the fight for victory on Friday, then Saturday, we should have a better road position, and everything is open. But the Friday will be decisive.
It really looks that way. What will be the biggest challenge then on Friday for you?
For me, like I said, the risk of punctures is high. You can easily hit a stone and damage radiator or whatever on the car. So I think that other than the cleaning effect, this will make the rally more challenging.
You give yourself a margin, or is it not possible at the level that you're at to give yourself a margin for the big rocks?
I mean, they come mainly by surprise. I mean, some corners we were able to be sure. We are able to be sure that there are some stones, but in some other they just come by surprise, and nobody can do anything against it, other than trying to avoid it or hit it at the right place. But I think on the first pass for me the stage conditions should be still okay, not too many stones, but the cars behind could have already more trouble.
How were the conditions out there? You've talked about the rocks in El Chocolate, but in general, were there any surprises with the stage conditions when you wrecked it today? It has been a little while since we were here.
Yeah, and stages have evaluated quite a lot. I mean, the organizer did a huge job by preparing the stages, which somehow I appreciate, but on the other hand, they change a lot the characteristic of the stages by doing that. It's much less natural than what it has been in the past. The roads are, I would say, in some places up to 2 meters wider than previous years, so much faster as well. But the surface is very hard and compact, especially Saturday stages, which makes it more smooth and just less natural, which I personally dislike.
Oh, that's remarkable, because they were quite wide in places anyway, weren't they?
Yeah, but if I remember 10 years back, they were narrow most of the time.
Really strong performance in terms of pace from you in Sweden at Esa-Pekka. Road position here, that kind of pace, you've got a chance this week.
I feel we have all the possibilities, and we know our car is competitive. okay, it's quite different than in Sweden. It's much slower. Okay, completely different surface, but still, I think we saw last year what this car can do on this kind of events. So I also know that Toyota has done their homework. So, but yeah, good road position, a lot of cleaning. That's the most what I've ever seen. They've repaired the road so much that there's big layer of loose gravel. So yeah, everything is possible.
You know, when they repair roads, the most important thing is they compact them and keep it nice and compact. What's your feeling, having driven through? How compact do you think those roads are?
Well, it felt okay. For sure, some corners, can be rough, and there will be. But I would say generally they are feels compact. So I'm not really worried.
You've done this rally a few times in the past, Esa-Pekka. What is the thing that you've learned most from those events? What do you take into this event as a learning that maybe something that you mustn't do here? What's the biggest learning, the biggest thing that's maybe unique to this event?
You need to calm down your attack. You can't ride the way what we drove in Sweden. It's just so important to stay on the clean line or search for the clean line. You just need to hit it all the time. But that's probably the biggest key.
Tell me what that feeling's like when you come into, say, a fast left-hander and you're just off the line. And normally, a little bit more power and you can pull yourself back round. Tell me what that feeling's like here when that power just isn't there.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. Because then you know that it's gonna end, or you're gonna have a massive moment, or I don't know, but it doesn't feel nice for sure.
Does that change your driving style at all, or your approach?
Yeah. Like I said, you need to calm down a bit, brake maybe a bit earlier, and really be really efficient all the time. Also because of the lack of power.
Tell me what your objective is then this week. As I say, the pace was great in Sweden. You know, what is the objective? We know what you can do, but what's the objective?
I think we need to sit down together tonight with the team to discuss about it, because we have Thierry in front on the starting order, then we have me and Danny at the back, so some of us needs to be me or Danny aggressive, and so we need to discuss that a bit, because it also affects to the approach, which kind of tire plan we're going to do, and the driving as well. So
I suspect that won't be decided on the toss of a coin who's aggressive. Clearly gravel is your surface, so that role may well be given to you.
Let's see, but Danny is good as well. Let's see.
So if we get to Friday, the final stage, we have a similar situation to Craig and Thierry in Sweden. If you were asked to drop 10 seconds, would you be happy to do that? No, I'm not going to say would you be happy, that's silly. Would you do that?
In the end, it's my boss who says that, so I think we need to listen what he's saying.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen, that you're right there at the top of the list and no one can do anything. Best of luck this weekend, Esa-Pekka. I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Thank you.
So it's your first time here. Tell me what your impressions are of Rally Mexico so far.
Well, so far, frankly, it's been a long flight, but as most of you guys, pretty happy to be here. I know it's one of these iconic venues of the calendar, so very much looking forward to living that from the inside. You know, it's another place of beautiful scenery, iconic shots, so iconic name like Chocolate. So I'm really looking forward to what we can do. But having said that, I know that it can be a very tough one, harsh one for the mechanic, for the drivers, and for the mental. So let's see what we can do here.
You know, with this being your first year in the WRC, do you do homework before each event? Is there a procedure you go through to find out about each event before you come out?
Yeah, I do what happened in the years before, because obviously it didn't happen for last year. It was 2020. Look what happened, who was strong, who was not strong, who struggled, what were the sort of key talking points and key impact in the final result. So you know, and that is at the same time important to understand what's going on at the factories, make sure that there is no oversight on our side, and that myself, I come prepared to make sure that when it matters, if there is any decision to be made, when it matters, that I'm ready for that.
You mentioned it earlier on. There's a particular engineering and almost a strategic challenge about Rally Mexico, isn't there? It's unique with the altitude in particular. What have you guys done in preparation for this event? Because we haven't had these Rally 1 cars with the hybrid units here before. What can you tell us about your preparation?
Well, preparation indeed has been a mix of making sure that we'll be ready for dust, altitude, suspension, rocks. It's the first one, gravel this year, so there is always a bit of setup based on what we've experienced in the first two rallies, which are different, obviously, but there's been some learnings. We had some small issues, reliability-wise. That didn't really impacted the overall result, but it could have. So that's very much something that we pay attention to, and we make sure to be prepared for that rally here, which is going to be harsher on the cars. And the next one in particular, indeed, is very much on the powertrain side with the altitude. Obviously, the ice power will be reduced, and therefore, in proportion, what's coming from the hybrid will be higher. So you want to make sure to be on the top of that. So what have we done in relation to that? We've tested in the south of Spain with every single one of the crews. They had 1 day of test. Basically, what have we done? We voluntarily turned down the engine power in order to simulate the effect of the altitude and see what was the impact, therefore, of the hybrid. But that's pretty much what you can do in order to get to simulate what you're going to experience here. So I think the result of what we have done, we're very much going to find out tomorrow and a bit more even on Friday.
Now, what we discovered in Sweden, and I think we all knew it anyway, is that your focus this year in terms of the Drivers' Championship is very much Thierry Neuville. Have you given any thoughts to how you can strategically help him here? He's obviously, what is he, a third on the road, I think, here, isn't he? Have you given any thought to that, or is it too early to really talk about that?
No, frankly, it's a bit too early. I think, I'm quite glad in the way that we reacted in Sweden because, frankly, there will be pros and cons. I know that I will be criticized for making this type of decision, but I think this is also what you expect from a team's boss. There is a strategy, there is an objective for the team, and I think there's been some question mark as to whether we had the capacity to be true to our strategy and our objective. That's the sort of things that you need to do. So we could have done it differently. We could have not done it at all. But I think, overall, I'm pleased that when we were presented with the opportunity, we seized the opportunity. Well, eventually, it turned out differently at the end of the power stage, but it is what it is. So I think if the same type of situation occurs here in the weekend, I'm pretty sure we will react in the same way. But very much, it's too early to say. And the only thing that I can say is that, as always, Thierry needs to think about the long game. The last thing that we want is some form of puncture on a Friday, which could impact, the rest of the weekend. It could have very negative impact on the championship, which is a close championship for the top 3 position. We also know that Toyota and Seb will be very strong here this weekend. So the only thing that I'm thinking right now, let's be a bit on the safe side on Friday morning and see how things are going to fall into play.
It's going to be a very interesting day, Friday in particular. A lot of talk once again, Cyril, about America, about the USA and a rally, maybe even as early as next year in the USA. What are your thoughts on that? How important to Hyundai is the USA in terms of the WRC?
Well, first, US market is maybe the second market in the world. So for any car company, and in particular any global car company, it's a very important market. So motorsport and WRC being a marketing platform, it's obviously key for WRC to stop in US. And you know that my background before is Formula One, and it was very clear that when you want to build a global sports property, you have to think about the States and the way that the States are fantastic at marketing sports properties. So I'm very much in favor of making sure that we do it, but we do it right also.
So are you involved in the discussions? Are the teams involved in the discussions with the various different stakeholders in the States to try and make something happen?
We trust the promoters and the FIA in putting together the right calendar, but I'm very up, for being available to promoters and to WRC and to FIA to to discuss what should be the strategic topics on the agenda of WRC. I think lots of thoughts and consideration is being given about what's the next energy, what's the next powertrain. It is important, but I think there are many, many other parameters which are at least equally important, and calendar is one of them.
Very much so. One last question. We've heard a bit of talk this last few days about a simulated noise, a simulated sound from the cars in the service park when they're in EV modes. What are your thoughts on that, and what have you done to perhaps address that with the deadlines that have been given?
Yeah, no, we worked on it, and we, as Hyundai and being massively involved in electrification, maybe we will not like it, but it is what it is. I mean, that's the sort of things that we like. So a lot of thought has been given, and we've been working with Korea about what could be the signature. So first we wanted to, it was important to hit a milestone from the regulation, but thinking also in the future what we want to do to give this sort of unique signature which can be part of the brand identity of Hyundai.
That's interesting. It's like the Nokia tune. You'll remember, you're kind of maybe a bit younger than me. Yeah. Because you've been given free rein. The only requirement, I'm told, is it has to be 85 decibels at least. So you can make your own tune, you can make your own noise. Give me an idea. Give me an idea of what would you like?
I know. What would I like?
Yeah.
La Marseillaise.
Why not, Cyril? Why not? So we're going to catch up with you later on in the weekend. All the best of luck this week.
Thank you very much.
Elvin, tell me about your preparation for this event. On gravel, good road position. You've got to be positive about it.
Yeah, looking forward to the weekend. Of course, it's always an element of a lottery here, you know, especially with all these big rocks we've seen on the side. But there's equally some sections which are looking really, really nice to drive, and yeah, really looking forward to those parts, obviously. But you know, Friday, like always, is a huge challenge here.
One or two of the other drivers have talked about the changes to the roads. You know, wider roads, almost a different approach to some of the corners through the roads. How difficult was that for you in terms of the recce and changing notes that you had in the recce?
For sure, there's a bit of it, but not too much. But yeah, there were certain sections which you would have preferred to just bin the notes, to be honest. But thankfully, not too many of them.
And obviously, the first time here with this new Rally 1 car and the hybrid, any consideration for that during the recce with the notes?
I mean, we obviously try and work a bit on that type of stuff a bit before as well, but yeah, no, I don't think it's night and day different in terms of notes, but of course there's certain little points just to make a note of.
You talked about Friday being so important. What will the approach be Friday morning?
Well, I mean, you have to get through without trouble. That's obviously number one. But at the same time, you know, you have to find a good rhythm and try to make the most, especially towards the guys in front.
What is your thinking about the feeling? Because we know it's all about confidence, and you're a millimetre off being absolutely back up to the best of Elvin Evans. What is the feeling ahead of this one?
The feeling, honestly, in the car is quite okay from the testing at least. So we have to wait and see how we fare now. I mean, here is always about managing a lot of things. You know, it's not just about being flat out, let's say, from start to finish. There's tyres to think about and looking after the car and all your package. So, you know, there's more than just thinking about driving flat out in this rally.
Something that's not been talked about a lot so far is tyre wear. You know, the heavier cars, the abrasive surface, the power from the extra power you're going to get from the hybrid unit. It could be interesting with tyre wear here.
Yes and no. Normally, you know, we're down 25%. So traditionally, it hasn't been the type of rally where we struggle like a Sardinia or a Greece, to be honest. But you know, first time here with Pirelli, obviously we you know, it was Michelin last time we drove back in 2020. So we have to wait and see how we fare.
Did you see the rain earlier on, by the way? It absolutely chucked it down in the stages.
Yeah, I heard it did, but I haven't seen any of it.
I don't think it'll make much difference. Best of luck this weekend, now.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Taka-san, your first time here in Mexico. It's been quite a busy recce out there. Tell me what you've made of what you have seen in the stages.
Yeah, obviously very demanding and nice stages, but very demanding some sections, and like I expected more like smoother tarmac or not tarmac, sorry, surface or something. But yeah, especially El Chocolate was more like rough than I expected, and I was watching quite a lot at home, like onboards from previous years. So I tried prepare well, but obviously quite different than like I expected.
Yeah, quite a number of drivers have talked about Chocolate and how rough it is. Can you see why it's so rough? Is it just the road hasn't been repaired? Is it a bad? What is it that makes it so rough?
I don't know actually. Even I don't know like normal El Chocolate stage conditions, so hard to say. But obviously there is a lot of like soft sand on top of the surface, and underneath there is a lot of like sharp like bedrocks as well. So obviously if you have been once or twice, then you know that where is rock on things. But it was quite difficult to find out everything, and for me, and yeah, still I need to check quite a lot this evening. But it's quite yeah, long day.
So, you know, it's been a long day, obviously, with the recce. Yesterday, in particular, I think 11 or 12 hours out on the recce. How much more have you got to do this evening?
Yeah, hopefully I can finish everything before they change. So I don't know. Important to go sleep, so I need to sleep. But obviously, like shorter leg day today. But still, if you want to check properly from the videos, maybe I do too much. But this is my way always. So I try to find way.
So what is the plan for the week then, Takamoto-san? We know it's about confidence. We know you've got the ability to drive through the stages and get a result, but you want to go as fast as you can. Tell me about the strategy here. Tell me about the plan here.
Of course, this is first time competing Rally Mexico for me, so I need a little bit different approach than other rallies, especially like Sweden. I need a bit more like step by step at start and to find feeling with the car and to feel the engine feeling very high altitude, and many things are new for me, so it's gonna be challenging, but this is my plan to get step by step better performance.
Tell me about that. You are experiencing the altitude for the first time. What have you done to prepare yourself? Have you talked to other drivers? Is there anything you've done in testing that allows you to maybe simulate? What have you done to prepare for the lack of power?
Yeah, of course everybody's saying that lack of the power and you don't feel the engine torque so much, so we are doing testing and a little bit tried a bit like reduce the engine power, but like it's always hard to like put exactly same like power as here, so it's not so easy, but engineers did a very good job, so hopefully our test was went it went well, and we will see this weekend, and at least car feel very good. So
I'm sure you will. I'm going to tell you a fascinating fact about Chocolate. About 5 years ago, on the Monday after the rally, it snowed on Chocolate.
snow
On the Chocolate stage.
after rally.
Not on the rally, the Monday after the rally had finished. It snowed on Chocolate.
Why?
Why? Who knows why? Who knows? It was cold.
Really? It's
White chocolate.
white chocolate. That's,
White chocolate Chocolate.
I like that.
Seb, what was it feeling like knowing just what these things mean to people? I mean, that will probably stay in this gentleman's family for the next 100 years.
Yeah, I think, that's what fans want to have. And I remember even myself, I think, when was that? 2006 maybe, or five, I was mechanic, or 4, something like this. I was in Tour de Corse, and I bought this rally plate, and like went to ask Marcus, Seb, Peter, and I have still in my child room, I guess, to my parents, there's still this plate hanging there. And yeah, luckily for me, I could be part of this world I was dreaming. And but still, I remember where I come from, and I remember that's important for people, and that's make them dream a little bit, and that's why we need to take some time for them.
No, you're absolutely right. It means so much to so many people. Seb, to the rally. You're enormously popular in this part of the world. There's a very good reason. 6 times winner here. Another Seb has also won it 6 times. You can be the undisputed champion of Mexico if you can win it here. Good chance this week.
Well, yeah, good chance. I think starting position is interesting, obviously. I think you guessed my answer. I'm not here coming for this number for sure, but if good numbers are always nice to have, so why not? But let's say we are here to try to win this rally, more to try to get another win, to try to get good point for the team. Starting position is good, but like we've seen in the recce, there is maybe more rocks than we used to see, more loose rocks, and the disadvantage of being in the back or after a few cars is that those rocks can move, and that you're never really sure where you're going to have them when you come. Risk of puncture is there, maybe a bit bigger than we used to have. So let's hope the luck is with us this weekend, and we can enjoy a nice Rally Mexico.
Yeah, let's hope the luck is with you, but you don't win a rally like this 6 times just on luck. There's clearly an approach. There's clearly a style. There's maybe a secret. What would you say is the most important thing that you've learned about winning this rally?
I think this rally is biting harder than we think, and that's from what you see. Those roads are beautiful. It's a nice flowing profile most of the time, but everything is hard here. The ground, the rocks on the side, and any mistakes. I mean, nothing. There is no forgiving if you hit something. So, yeah, I think you have to be clever in your driving. Maybe a little bit of tire management sometimes, which is also always a strong point for me. And being clean in your driving. Less power means sliding is not nice, not fast. So let's hope that I still have all these ingredients with me and that I can bring them together to try to fight for the win.
I think we saw in Monte Carlo that you've still got every ingredient necessary to win. When you talk about the problems out there, can you give yourself a margin? Can you afford, with the level of competition these days, to give yourself a margin and still be in the hunt here?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to feel because I haven't competed really on this kind of gravel for a bit of time now. So I was happy with my performance in New Zealand on gravel last year, but here it's again a bit different. So the team have been struggling a little bit on this rough rally last year. So that was one of the reasons basically I'm here. I mean, on top of the fact that I wanted to come back to Mexico, but we've been working hard with the team to try to make the car faster for this condition. And the answer only come during a race. So we'll have to watch this weekend. At least the feeling for me in the car was good during the test. But like I say, I missed a bit of references on this condition at the moment. So let's see where we are. I think obviously normally the start position should help to don't have to push more than 100% at the beginning and be fast. That's the way it is. Yeah.
When you talk about the problems the team have had on rough gravel, trying to find more speed, is there an area in particular that you've focused your efforts on?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's chassis related basically. It looks like the car is working. Otherwise, the engine is working. The hybrid management, I think, is working, and basically it looks like the car didn't really have the speed on this surface, which means then you have to work on the chassis to try to make it faster. The feeling with the driving durability was not necessarily bad from what I understood, but the speed was just not there. So let's see this weekend. I'm confident we can be fast.
Good, we're confident that you can be fast too. Seb, best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Wow, well, wasn't that frantic? Some great information, some great insights from our drivers here in the service park. As you could tell, really busy, and apologies for missing Cali, apologies for missing Danny Sordo. You can see them in our recce video, which is also on YouTube. A few words with them in our recce video. So if you want to hear from Cali, you want to hear from Danny Sordo, just have a look at our YouTube channel and you will see that interview there with those drivers. Yeah, it's there. Somewhere up there, I'm being told. Might be up there, but I think it's up there. So, folks, as I said, lots learned from this evening's Meet the Crews here in the service park. Folks, we'll see you later on in the rally. It's going to be a cracker.